Roadium Radio knows how to podcast. Roadium Radio knows how to podcast. In the city of Wilmington, we keep it rockin'. So come on, shake it for me, Kelly.
Yeah, Dr. Dre is in full effect, and I gotta tell y'all a little something. Eazy-E is down with us. MC Ring, you know he's down with us. DJ Yella is down with us. Arabian Prince, you know he's down with us. Tony A the Wizard is down with us. JJ Fag is down with us. Timmy T, you know he's down with us. DJ Pooh Boy is down with us. Toddy P and Spade, they're down with us. My boy Ice Cube, you know he's down with us. I like to mention, so pay attention to where I'm from, Compton, but the tapes are from the Roadium. My name is Dre, listen while I play. And by the way, I'm also down with NWA. Yo, Steve at the Roadium is down with us. Slanging funky tapes, it is a must. We're number one.
Tony A. Tony A. When you're ready, go.
Yo, what up, everybody? This is Roadium Radio episode 36. Wow, 36. I remember our first date was September 11, 2019. A little bit over 5 months, and we've grown so much since then. But once again, before I introduce my next guest, a few announcements. Once again, for those that it's not too late, if you want to submit your video after watching the DOCUMIXERY, what your thoughts were. For everybody that has been submitting them, give us a couple of more, if you will, days. We're going to edit those and place those during the commercial break, so you guys can see what other people said about the documentary. So far, all of them have been good. They've been overwhelming and nothing but great, positive, if you will, videos. So I ran out of 88 boom and bass, but I have the 3 left that I'm selling for $3,415. I have the high C, 24/7, and 86 in the mix. We're thinking about releasing them, if you will. Stay tuned for that. Other than that, we are on all major platforms. So Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, whatever, we're everywhere. So once again, Roadium Radio, episode 36. Without further ado, please allow me to introduce you to the Godfather of Long Beach, the owner of the world famous VIP, and that's right, I said it, the world famous VIP, Kelvin Anderson. Kelvin, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Tony.
You know, before we actually get into the interview, there's something I want to share with you. Okay. I remember as a kid, my brother used to DJ at a club in Long Beach called Grand Central Station,
Of course.
on the east side of Long Beach, and he used to buy records from 2 spots only: Steve Yano at the Vermont Swamp Meet, and a place right out PCH in Long Beach, VIP Records. And I remember when I first went there, I saw a guy by the name of King Tim, and I soon found out that he was your brother.
Yeah.
Up until that point, I had only heard scratching on a record called Grandmaster Flash on the Wheels of Steel. And then I saw Grandmaster Flash scratching on TV. It was like a commercial for something. I saw him scratching behind his back and stuff. But I had never seen scratching in person.
Right.
It wasn't until I went to VIP Records, and there I saw King Tim, and I was just mesmerized. And I remember as a kid, I even asked him, "Who taught you?" You know, I'm thinking somebody had to teach him, but he said, "No, I just practiced."
Yep.
That's just what he said. And I remember I said, well, what's your name? All along while my brother was looking at records, and he said, "They call me King Tim." And I was like, wow. And I remember after that, growing up, I'm about to be 52 years old, and King Tim has been a major role in my DJ career, because I always tell people the King Tim story.
Wow.
So,
That's super.
yes, and King Tim is your brother, if I'm
Yeah,
correct.
it's my baby brother. And, you know, I never really thought about who taught him, but yeah, he was self-taught.
Yeah.
And and would be big today, but for some reason he just lost love for it. And yeah, he definitely sold thousands of mixtapes and
Yes.
stuff over those years, and he taught a lot of other cats to be a DJ and stuff. So
One thing about him that I can say that, there are some DJs that are good. They're a little bit sloppy, but they're good. One thing I noticed about him, he was not a sloppy cat. His cuts were crisp. And I remember my brother brought home a mixtape of his, and he was cutting up. The first time I ever heard anybody cut up, "Let the Music Play" by Shannon. Because you're thinking they're going to cut up Clear and Planet
Right,
Rock.
right.
But when he was cutting up Shannon, I was like, oh my God. And I'm going to confess something. And if he's watching, I'm going to give you all the credit. I stole his style from "Let the Music Play," the way he cut it up. I went to a house party and they said, "You want to spin?" I said, "Yeah." "You got two "Let the Music Plays?" And I pretty much reenacted what he did on that mixtape. So
Wow.
I confess, Tim.
I'm sure he's honored.
So now let's jump right into it, Kelvin, because for me, it's truly an honor and a pleasure to have you here, because I believe you're a man. You're a walking history. You're walking history. So let's jump right into it. Where was Kelvin Anderson raised at?
Oh, okay. I'm from a little town called Brandon, Mississippi, and that's probably like about 20 miles south of Jackson. So I grew up. It was a big family of 10 siblings, 6 boys and 4 girls. Very loving parents. And believe it or not, there was only gospel music played in our house. No R&B, no blues. And for all of the kids to end up in the industry, almost, store owners. But no, we was and grew up basically on a farm in the country. So it ain't like we grew up in a huge community, and so we all had our job assignments. And so I guess that's the reason why most of us left home early, because and I give my parents a lot of credit for the person that I am today.
Yes.
But in 1972, I graduated from high school, May 22nd. On the 23rd, I said goodbye to all of my friends and family. And on the morning of the 24th, I caught a Delta flight out of Jackson, Mississippi, around 6 a.m. And with the time change, I made it to LA around 10:30 that morning. My brother Cletus picked me up from the airport, took me to breakfast, took me by his house to drop off my luggage, and at 1 o'clock that day, I was working at VIP.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, VIP. He founded VIP in 1967. So, and a lot of people don't know the first VIP record was in South Central on 108th and Broadway.
Wow.
And that was in 67. And a couple of years after that, he moved to a bigger store on 108th and Main Street. So that's where he worked when I moved out here in 1972. So.
Okay. So now, obviously, Cletus was out here first.
Oh yeah.
How long was it that he was out here before you came out here?
Well, I think he came out in 63, I think. 62 or 63. We had a friend of the family that lived out here because it was amazing that we ended up out here because my parents' sibling grew up and moved to, my mom's sibling moved to Chicago, and my dad's siblings moved to New York. So we had nobody out here. So a friend of the family lived out here that he visited, and they gave him a place to stay for a couple of months, and he got him a job. And as we grew up, we kind of came out and joined him.
As a kid, when I say as a teenager, I should say, the only thing that I ever heard of Mississippi was a story of Robert Johnson at the crossroads. Because I saw it in a movie.
Oh, wow.
I saw it in the movie. As a matter of fact, the Karate Kid played. It was a big story, but do you know the Robert Johnson story from Mississippi?
I really don't.
Okay, yeah. Supposedly, And again, whether it's true or not, people were saying that he met the devil at a crossroads in Mississippi, and the devil, if you will, gave him musical powers to play the guitar or whatnot.
Oh, that was the blues guy, Robert Johnson.
Robert,
Oh,
yes.
Okay, I did kind of hear a little something about that.
And that was like
story.
the only thing that I ever heard, and it wasn't until like I want to say 92 or maybe 91 that we actually went through New Orleans, Mississippi, and then we stayed in Louisiana for like 7 days because we were performing out there.
Yeah.
But I like Mississippi, and it's funny. I usually tell everybody that in United States, they always say, "What was the best place you ever went to in the United States when you performed?" I'll be honest with you, I really enjoyed Louisiana. We were there like for 7 days. First time I tried gumbo, and I loved it.
What, New Orleans?
No, in Louisiana.
Oh, it wasn't in New Orleans,
No,
Louisiana?
it wasn't. We only passed through New Orleans, and we only passed through Mississippi.
Okay.
But we stayed in Louisiana because High C family lived in Louisiana, so we stayed with them.
Oh, cool.
So, but yeah, so now, when you came over here, this was straight out of high school, if I'm correct?
Yeah, 2 days out of high school.
And what encouraged you to come out here?
My life, probably, I would say in the 10th grade, me and my best friend said once we finished high school, we was going to truck driving school. We want to be long distance truck drivers.
Okay.
So my brother had opened the store, and when he opened VIP Records, he had 2 jobs at Boeing. Well, at that time it wasn't called Boeing. And he worked at General Motors and the aircraft place as a painter. So he had a record store and 2 jobs. But I had my second brother, David, was out here also. He had got out the military and came out here, so he was kind of at the store. And by the time I got out here, my third brother, Glenn, was there. So we were at this nice store on 108th and Broadway. So when I got out here in 72, a few months after that, Cletus started opening a couple other stores. So
Wow.
the first store that we opened was on Vernon and Figueroa in a shopping center right out the freeway on Figueroa. And then he bought a store in Pasadena that used to be a Target store on Orange Grove and Fair Oaks. And in 74, he opened the best ever VIP record store on 28th and Crenshaw.
You know, I'm glad, Kelvin, that you're sharing this, because there's a lot of people, especially this generation, think that VIP was just Long Beach.
Yeah, a lot of people.
You know, but the origins, pretty much, you're sharing with us now that there was actually 8 VIPs, if I'm correct.
When we got to Long Beach, it was 8, but altogether, at one point, I would say we had like 12 locations under the name.
Wow. And now, just to ask, why VIP?
Well, you know, back in the day, record store used to have long, crazy names.
Yeah.
So my brother wanted to keep it simple and stuff, VIP. So that's a very important place, or you're a very important person.
Right.
So he just kept it simple.
Kept it simple.
Yeah.
So when you came out here, was this the first time you were ever out here?
It was my second time.
Okay.
So I got a chance to visit out here when he was on 108th and Broadway. And the store that time was probably twice the size of this room.
Wow.
But when he moved from 108th and Broadway to 108th and Main, it was probably big as the VIP in Long Beach store now.
Okay.
So that's, you know, and, you know, without a doubt, my brother was the smartest retailer that I ever met and stuff. His philosophy in doing business, you know, back then, you know, he used to get credit for selling a lot of music. Well, his big concept was that he didn't necessarily want to make a lot of money on a few people. He wanted to make a little money on a lot of people.
A lot of people.
So within that and stuff, he had the cheapest prices. And so, of course, you know, if I'm getting something cheap, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
So a lot of our business came from word of mouth because we had the best prices and nobody knew the music like we did and stuff.
Right.
He taught us that, you know, in order to be a good salesperson, you got to know what's being played on the radio. So we had to always know what the top 20 and top 40 chart was on K-Day, KGFJ, KJLH. I mean, that was our job because normally people, when they walk into the store, they get a brain freeze.
Yeah.
And you have to help dig it out of them and stuff. So sometimes they can only say, go like, and then we would be able to pick it up because
Yeah.
we know we monitor radio like
You
that.
were able to name that tune.
Definitely, and we were good at it.
Awesome. Now, when you started working for your brother at the VIP when you first came here, what was, if you can recall, what was the music that was popping at that time? What was hot, if you could remember?
Well, definitely R&B. We specialized in R&B, jazz, gospel, and blues. So I would say definitely Marvin Gaye
Yeah.
was a big thing. Freddie Jackson, Luther Vandross, Aretha Franklin, who is my favorite artist of all time,
Yes.
hands down, Aretha
Yes.
Franklin. And it was our R&B driven situation.
Yes,
So,
yes. Since you brought up Marvin Gaye, the first time, and I saw it on YouTube, but that was the first time I saw it. I didn't see it live, but when he sang the Star Spangled Banner,
Oh yeah.
Marvin Gaye, I'll be honest, that made me cry.
Wow.
That was beautiful. To me, I still think that he holds the record for the best Star Spangled Banner. My opinion, Marvin Gaye.
That was definitely different, and it was definitely impactful, and a lot of people was definitely out looking for it.
Yes, yes. And the thing is because it was almost like a sexual healing type of
Yeah.
style that he
Right.
did. For those of you that want to hear it, you can YouTube it. Marvin Gaye, Star Spangled Banner, may you rest in peace.
Right.
Do you remember, Kelvin, your first in-store and who it was?
First in store.
At your brother Khalid's store.
First in store. Well, I can remember a few big ones that we had on, like
Okay.
on Crenshaw. We had in store with George Clinton in Parliament, and these in stores were so big that we had to do them outside.
Outside.
We
okay.
had Stevie Wonder came there and did a big in store. I remember, because the pictures in my head of the Brothers Johnson.
Brothers
I remember
Johnson.
because my daughter, they took nice pictures with my daughter at that in store. But we had like a lot of big people. My brother, he studied, what the successful business, other successful retailers was doing and stuff, and he picked up a lot of tips from Tower Records and stuff
Okay.
on how to present stuff. I think that's where he got the billboards, outside billboard idea from Tower Records. But we was always changing, and like I say, thanks to him, it helped propel VIP as being the place that you want to get your music in. The place where you would get that special touch as far as your music is concerned.
Okay. I know towards the end we're going to talk about what we talked about prior, the VIP experience. But before we get to that, do you still have pictures of a lot of this stuff?
A lot of pictures, yeah.
A lot of pictures.
Yeah.
What about possible film?
Yeah, I definitely have some film too of some of the in stores. I would say fast forward, and I probably got a little footage of the Snoop Dogg in store and the in store with Shaq when Shaq came to Long Beach.
Okay.
When LL Cool J came.
Wow.
Yeah, so we definitely have, because I'm like a pack rat, man. I don't know how to throw nothing away.
You know
So
what?
I
And
got-
I'm a lot the same way. I'm a collector, and I will say that Steve Yano, may you rest in peace. When we started working together, he would take pictures of everything.
Yeah.
Of everything. There wouldn't have been a documentary about Steve Yano, the swamp meat vendor from the city of Whittier, if we would not have ever incorporated all the pictures that he took.
Wow.
Because and at the very end, I also, not only did I say, in memory, loving memory of Steve Yano, but I also gave him photo credit for all the pictures.
Did you?
Yeah, and he would always give me a stack. Here you go, and I was like, "What's this? More pictures." Throw them in a shoebox. Not knowing that one day they would actually
Right.
play a role.
Right.
But now,
Yeah, Steve was a very special person to
Yes.
me, Cletus, VIP Records, man, you know, and I always think of Steve and Susan as a team, always,
Yes, always.
always. And, you know, hats off, man, to what he did to impact artists' development and growth, you know, over the years that he was really into the business. And, you know, he wasn't just into it on a whim. He actually knew the music, you know.
Yes.
He was an inspiration.
Yes.
We did a lot of things together.
And people can hear more of that as well in the DOCUMIXERY, because we actually we interviewed you at
Right.
VIP,
Right.
and you shared so much more.
Right.
What were some of the in-stores during the time of your brother Cletus' stores when you were working for him that maybe stand out, that you would say this was a memorable one? Like, was there any of them?
Well, outside of the three that I mentioned, we had Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes.
Oh, wow.
Came through. We had Donna Summers. Did a nice in-store. Barry White.
Barry White. Wow.
Yeah. So because then, you know, it was like way before rap.
Right,
You know,
right.
the Emotions, Sister Sledge, Bootsy Collins. You know, it was like, yeah, I mean,
The
in the-
Jackson 5.
yeah, well, a little later on,
Okay.
after Warehouse Records opened up their mega stores called Big Ben, Cletus, to counteract that, he opened up our mega store, and it was called Freeway Records.
Freeway Records.
And Freeway Records was on the corner of Santa Barbara and Weston. It was formerly like a Savon or something. It was
Okay.
it was huge. So we did in-store there with the Jackson 5.
Wow.
And that was amazing.
You know, since a person like me doesn't know about in-stores, because I was never necessarily in the record selling business, I would just help Steve. Since my first job was with Steve Yano selling vinyl, but obviously I never knew how he got them or where he bought them from or whatnot. How does one get in contact with, if you will, like the Jackson 5 and say, we would like to have you, you know, do an in-store? Or was it the other way around? Did some artists contact you guys?
Well, no, it starts with the your labor rep. So
Okay.
your representative from Sony, Warner Brothers, or BMG, either, you know, we might request it, or we might also they might say, hey, you know, we got Bill Withers in town and stuff. You know, he got time, we can bring him through if you'd like to have him. So it works either way, but it starts with pretty much your rep.
Okay.
And then he take it to the office, to, you know, the marketing promotion team. And, you know, if they think it's a good idea and want to, you know, invest in it to market and promote it, we bring in the merchandise and we make it happen.
Awesome. Now, when the Jackson 5 came, do you remember about what year and possibly maybe how old Michael was?
Oh, wow. So that was, yeah, I would say that was like 78, 79.
Wow.
I'll say, yeah, around 77, 78 was the year. And yeah, he was a little standoffish and stuff, but it all went good. I wish I had the picture to show you, but I'll show it to you one day.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, I was probably about 9 or 10 years old, and me loving music, hearing these stories, and speaking to a man that was there, that was a part of history, for me, it's like, gives me goosebumps, you know, I because I really love music that much. So when I hear stories like this, especially when I had Violet Brown, and she would share stories about MC Hammer and Tina Marie or whatever.
Of course.
You know, I still sit back as a fan and say, you know, you knew them, like you met them, you know. So believe me, to me, it's a blessing to be able to sit here and you speak on the history of VIP, because a lot of people, once again, they just think one VIP, and that was off of Martin Luther King and PCH, but that's not it. It was more of a history, you know, more of a history. Now, before your brother bought the location in Long Beach, how many stores did he have at this time? I know you said at one point there was 12.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say at the most at one time it was probably about 12 locations within the family. My sister Lisa and her husband at one point had 5 stores, because she had the store on Slauson and Crenshaw, right across from Nipsey's store.
Okay.
She had another store on Slauson and Western, and her husband had 3 other VIP stores, 2 in Compton,
2 in
Rosecrans
Compton.
and Central, and the other one, I guess like Willowbrook,
Okay.
something like that. And my brother David had one on Slauson and Alameda, right across the street from the courthouse.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it was, VIP stores everywhere.
And which one would you say, and I thought you mentioned it was the biggest one or the one that drew the most attention
Yeah, the 28th and Crenshaw by far.
by far?
The best VIP store
Wh-
ever.
Why do you think that was?
Well, I mean, we did the biggest volume there. You know how of course, albums and stuff was big during those years. That store was opened up in '74, and you would take the records and put them in the bin, or you take the records and put them on the rack.
Right.
We sold so many records till it was an owl, and we just take them out the box and put the box down and put the records on top of the box. And we sold so much music until the industry came to us. They want to know, who is these guys and how's they able to do that? Well, during that time, my brother we had the best sound system. It was like a studio, the
Yes.
sound system in there. But we also had DJs, and that was their job. All they did was play music and stuff. So it's like I'm the salesperson on the floor, and you walk in and you ask for Marvin Gaye. So he hear you already.
Yeah.
So he gonna play that, and that's okay. I want that. So now he gonna play the next artist close to Marvin Gaye. So if you like Marvin, then you like Freddie, and then so it was like the same thing. If somebody came in and asked for BB King, once you decide you want BB King, he's gonna play Albert King. He's gonna play Howlin' Wolf and stuff. So we just had this thing where we kept the pressure on, and people like, oh man, I like that and
Right.
stuff. So nobody could,
Compete.
nobody had the drive that we had as an independent retail store. And my brother Glenn, in the early years, and this is actually during the 8-track years.
Right.
And he probably like, don't be telling my story, but I'm gonna tell this one. He actually, because like I said, the people normally when they come in, they know what they want, but they can't think of it. And you remember, I don't know if you remember this much about an 8-track tape, is that you push it in and have this little silver metal piece in there that would flip it to the next track when they get around. It'll play all the way through, and they get to that silver piece, it'll go to track 2. And so he would cover that up where it wouldn't change track, so it just stay in the same thing. And he would record 15 seconds of the top 40 songs. So you would come in the store and you would say, okay, yeah, I want Marvin, I want Kool in the Gang, and then once you finish, that's when he push it in. And you at the register ready to pay, and you hear this?
What's that?
Yeah. Oh man, you got that? Okay. And then, man, we used to be embarrassed. First and the 15th was check days.
Yes.
And people would be in there, and man, they would spend all their money, man. I have actually felt embarrassed. I've actually said, have you paid your bills yet? And stuff, because I found out people were sick with music. And it's crazy that all these years that I've been in the business, 41 years in Long Beach, but altogether 48 years in retail, I never took music home.
Never took music home.
So my friends thought my kids had everything.
Yeah, everything.
I never took music home. So I don't have no home collection.
Wow, that's awesome, And so, and I'm gonna tell you to me, what's very important, at least in music stores, whatever ones are still around, is when I would walk in and I would see a guy behind the turntables, like you would see a DJ. To me, that was something special, because you could walk up to him and like, hey man, can you play Gordy's Groove, or can you play Sucker MCs, and pull it out of the sleeve, drop the needle, and you're like, I want 2 of those.
Yeah.
It convinces people to buy more.
Exactly.
So You know.
And my brother's philosophy always was that if you came in and bought two records, I'm supposed to be able to at least sell you one, because in the two that you bought, you just told me what you like. So I just play the next thing that's close to what you just bought. And normally that stuff will and a lot of times that's how we got a chance to push independent artists and stuff. So somebody, I'll go to the rap situation. Maybe somebody come in and buy Ice Cube and they buy DJ Quik. Well, I'll play something in those veins and stuff, and independent cat that nobody even know of, and they like, oh man, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
But I only have enough money for two. Well, you gonna have Ice Cube, so let me get that new cat.
Right.
I want to turn my buddies on to it and
right.
stuff. So.
And that's how you break in the artist as well.
Exactly. Exactly.
You can even tell them, hey man, this guy right here, he only pressed up a few and it's hot, and people take it.
Yeah. Well,
People
a lot
take
of time people want to be that person on the block that got something new and different.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
in-store play was king, man, without a doubt.
Kelvin, we're going to press pause right there, and we're going to come back after a 10-minute break. Okay. I'm having a great time talking music history. I know you got a lot more stories and a lot more to share. So we're going to take a little break. So everybody, once again, call somebody, text somebody, slap the hell out of somebody, let them know that Kelvin Anderson from the world famous VIP is in the building. Go grab yourself a beer. Go get your popcorn ready. Make sure you call somebody, let them know that Kelvin Anderson is live here on Roadium Radio. We'll be back. Tony A. the Wizard. Go use the restroom. We'll be here.
Hey, Tony, drop that. What, bass?
I bet.
My name is the Croft, the C-R-A-W-F-O-R-D, the poet high C. Tony A. the Wizard, just as cool as a blizzard. Thinking out his tongue, stabbing pussy like a lizard. Oops, I'm sorry, homie, I didn't mean to say that. Steve is in the house. Come on, won't you play that funky dope beat? You know you gotta throw me some Stanley's ass crop coming straight from the Roadium.
You are now about to witness
Tony A.
Get funky. Tell them where you from. You don't think I'm living, well, fuck you.
Cool on Saturday night in LA. Yo, feeling kinda funky. Stop what you're doing, cause I'm about to ruin the image and the style that you used to.
What the hell are you looking for? Can a young man make money anymore? Wear my jeans and like freaking on the floor? Or is it my job to make sure I'm poor?
Disruption, disorder will nourish, not justify. Those that live at the FBI, look at mama's baby.
It's Mr. Little One chilling on Roadium Radio with the one and only Tony A and John motherfucking Elkins, boy.
Hey, what up? It's your boy Mr. Shadow. You're watching Roadium Radio with my homeboy Tony A the Wizard. You know what time it is.
Yeah, what up? This is Mr. Night Owl, and you're listening to Roadium Radio with the legendary Tony A the motherfucking Wizard.
Yo, what's cracking? Nosotros somos Aquid y estamos aquí con Tony A the Wizard. You know Roadium Radio, damn it. You know what it is.
Yo, what up? This is Mellow Man Ace and Padrino, and you tuned in to Roadium Radio with my man Tony A. Keep it locked.
Yo, what's cracking? It's your boy OG Arabian Prince from the world's most dangerous group, NWA. Sitting here with my boy Tony A the Wizard on Roadium Radio.
What's up? This is Esther Dazzle, Spanish Fly, Harbor Area's finest. Tune in to Tony A on Roadium Radio.
What's up, everybody? It's your homegirl Magic Girl, and you are now listening to Roadium Radio with Tony A the Wizard.
Yo, what's up? This is Bozo, aka Emiliano. You tune into Roadium Radio on Tony Vision's YouTube channel. Let's get it.
What up? This is Mr. Soto. You guys are now in tune to Roadium Radio right here on Tony Vision on YouTube.
Yep. Check it out. This is MC Poncho on the MIC. Shout out to Tony A the Wizard, Roadium Radio. You already know.
What up, this is DJ Trick, Spanish Fly, and you're watching Tony A on the Roadium Radio Show.
Big G, Roadium Radio, Tony A in full effect. Stay tuned, watch, listen. This is how we doing it over here.
Yo, what up? I'm out here. It's Big Daddy Swoles. I'm general with my man, Tony A the Wizard, out here on Roadium Radio. The podcast is off the hook. Check us out.
This is DJ Clientele, and you are listening to Roadium Radio with Tony A the Wizard.
Yeah, this baby Bounce here with Tony A the Wizard. You are now tuned in to the Roadium Radio. We do it for the people. You hear me?
Mic check. Ernie G from Proper Dos, and I'm listening to Tony A the motherfucking Wizard on Roadium Radio. And if you don't know, you should know.
What's up, everybody? This is Soren Baker. I'm the author of the book, The History of Gangster Rap, in stores now worldwide. And you're listening to Roadium Radio, hosted by Tony A. Make sure to check it out. We talk about the Roadium mixtapes. We're here. Soren Baker, Roadium Radio.
Y'all, this is Really Greg, and I'm chilling with Tony the Wizard on Roadium Radio.
Yo, this is Daniel Jones, the D to the motherfucking G Media Clips. Here with your boy, Tony A the Wizard on the Roadium Radio Show.
Hey, this is Swifty Blue. I'm right here at Roadium Radio with Tony A the Wizard. Stay tuned.
It's the KAS here live on Roadium Radio with the one and only Tony A the Wizard.
What up, y'all? This is Kiki Smooth, the first Mexican rapper out of Compton, rich and ruthless, and you're listening to the Roadium Radio with Tony A the Grand Wizard, El Mago himself. Hey, Compton's in the house.
What's up? It's Quite the Yes Guy with my harbor out of got homeboy Tony A the Wizard on Roadium Radio. Yes, guy.
Hey, what's up, gente? It's your homeboy Duende. You're tuned into Roadium Radio with my homeboy Tony A the Wizard. Ya te la sabes, wey.
What up? It's your boy Baldachi the Beast, Afro Music, Face of LA, right here at Roadium Radio. Make sure y'all tune in. Your boy Tony A the Wizard.
What's up? This is DJ Dominator, and you're listening to Tony A on Roadium Radio.
Yo, what's up? This is John motherfucking Elkins, and you're tuned into Roadium Radio with my homeboy DJ Tony A the Wizard.
What up, West Coast and all hip-hop fans? This is your girl, Violet Brown, and I'm here with Tony A the Wizard. And if you're rolling with us right now, that means that you love West Coast hip-hop. And if you want to know the real deal from the real players, the real people behind the scenes, you better pick up Tony's new film, Roadium Mixtape DOCUMIXERY. You get it by going to DOCUMIXERY.com. You better get this, and I want to do a special shout out and a rest in peace to my man Steve Yano. I'm out.
Tony A chilling at the Roadium with my homeboy Steve. Be on the lookout for our new 12-inch. The shit is dope. Yo, I like to say what's up to my homeboy Dre, my homeboy Prince of Jazz, and the girls with the big ol' ass. So Trip, I'm about to bust one more time to let y'all niggas know just what's on my mind.
In the morning, police at my door. Fresh Adidas squeak across my bathroom floor. Out my back window, I make my escape. Didn't even get a chance to grab my old school tape. Mad with no music, but happy cause free. And the street to a player is the place to be. Got a knot in my pocket weighing at least $1 grand.
Ice Cube getting dumb at the Roadium with the funky drum, and you know my man Steve can get some. With a fool like Tony A when he plays stupid dope shit by WA. You wanna spray? Dumb motherfuckers, no doubt. And sucker DJ, get the fuck out. Tony A.
What did you say your name was? What did you say?
Tony A.
I have won 1 million battles.
Lights, cameras, action, sound. Give me that mic, I'm about to go down.
Thinking of a master plan.
This story's funny. I met this girl and she had money.
Welcome back, everybody, to Roadium Radio, episode 36. Before we get back to Kelvin Anderson, the owner of the world famous VIP record store, Once again, I am running out of these 3 copies. 80 Boom and Bass is already gone. I have High C, I have 24/7 and 86 in the mix. You can buy the 3-pack for $15. I am considering, I'm not sure yet, and repressing them up and reselling them. But I know I am working on the other old school ones that I promised everybody that will be coming out soon. So once again, send us your video giving us a quick recap of what you guys thought about the DOCUMIXERY. 20 to 30 seconds long. Send it to us at rodiumradio@gmail.com. We'll edit it and we'll put it out on the commercial break. So once again, without further ado, please allow me to invite and continue to speak on Long Beach history, but not only Long Beach history, LA history. Okay, Kelvin Anderson, the owner of the world famous VIP record store. So before we went to break, we talked about in-stores and how at that time nobody was really able to touch what you guys had to offer as far as the music is concerned at these record stores.
Right.
You guys had a DJ in store. You guys had a plan when people would come in to play certain music to make them want to buy more. And believe me, us DJs, I know sometimes we get our checks and we got bills and we got groceries, but we also want that vinyl.
Yeah.
We also want them cassettes. Believe me, there's been times where I spent up to at least $500, you know. So I get it.
Right.
So now your brother Cletus buys the Long Beach location, and soon after that you take over or buy it from him. Am I correct?
Yeah, he opened VIP in Long Beach June of '78. June of '78, yeah. And 6 months later, January of '79, I bought it from him. So I've actually owned it since '79. '79.
I think it was soon after that that's when I started going. I would say it was probably like '83 when I first started going. It was only because my brother would always go, "Come on, we're gonna go to that record store." All right. And if I'm correct, if my mind serves me right, the DJ booth that you guys had in Long Beach, did it have a little boat?
Yeah, it was our version of the Queen Mary. So my brother actually, that was his idea of, he just kind of had the Queen Mary busting through the wall. And you walk around through the back and walk up on the stage, and the DJ booth and the 2 turntables was right there. And so people will walk up and we've just played music for them from the boat. So
right.
That was iconic. You know, it still should be there. Won't say that I won't bring it back when we kind of recreate the VIP experience. But yeah, that was a DJ booth that my brother put together. And you know, ironically, when he opened the store, in the first group of employees that he brought in was Roger Clayton was in that group. And
wow.
So the first Technique 1200 that Roger ever touched was at VIP.
Wow.
And you know, he actually, even after I took it over, he worked for me for like another couple of years. Wow. Before he went out on his own, and we all know that history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those of you who are not sure or who Roger Clayton is it safe to say the founder of Uncle Jam's Army?
He was definitely the founder or co-founder.
Okay.
So, but he was definitely the head man.
Yes, of Uncle Jam's Army. He used to work for Kelvin at VIP.
That's where he got his start.
Wow, that's awesome. I know a lot of, because me being a DJ for many years, I always said this. If you were a DJ, you have to know at least 2 places, VIP and Yano at the Roadium. You have to know, and I know there's other places, but
Right.
at least these are my top 2.
Right.
You know, my top 2 spots, because that's where Tony A got his start at
Right.
VIP, if you will, and Yano.
Right.
To me, VIP, the Roadium Swami were 2 huge major cornerstones, if you will, contributors to West Coast hip hop. You know,
I would say so. Definitely, you know, because we were definitely involved. When I look back, you know, I look at, you know, the work we did with Toddy T Master Spade, you know, the LA Dream Team. You know, it was like the place that, you know, if you got a good project and if we listen to it and we like it, then it was more than likely going to do something, because we definitely had a strong customer base, and you know, we was very aggressive in selling. You know, actually, as I look back, my brother Cletus actually sold the first rap record on the West Coast in California. We all know that the Sugar Hill Gang wasn't the first rap group, but nationally they were the first rap group.
Yes.
And when Sylvia Robinson sent it out to LA for him to take a listen to it, and we listened to it, and so she said, "You guys think you can sell it?" So he said, "Of course we can sell this." So we put it in all our stores, and then after that we got it in all of the other independent record stores that Cletus sold to. And then when K-Day picked it up, it was a rap.
It was a rap.
But yeah, first rap song definitely was played, was sold at VIP.
You know, one thing that I want people to get from this interview is people like yourself, Violet Brown, and I'm sure there's others here in the West Coast, but you guys were there when hip hop started.
Right.
There's very few people that can say I was there when it started. And to see all of these up and coming artists to end up at your stores, pretty much, you know, inviting the public to come meet them, receive autographs so that they can buy their product, etc. I believe a lot of artists need to show a lot of gratitude and humble themselves when they see a person like yourself, because VIP broke, if you will, a lot of artists.
Right.
A lot of artists.
Right.
And, you know, see, I've always been one of those people that I never forgot where I came from. And I looked at Steve Yano as a person who invested in me.
Right.
And I became the person that he saw good in me, he invested in me, and he believed in me. And I'm sure there were artists that you felt the same way about, coming out of Long Beach or coming out of VIP, that possibly don't even care, you know.
Well, you know, a lot of people have, you know, different ways of showing it. But, you know, and then a lot of people just felt like it was fate. You know, it was going to happen anyway.
Right.
But I know for a fact that if it hadn't have been for independent retail, so I'm not just talking about VIP, and I'm talking about stores across the country. If it hadn't have been for independent retail, rap music would have never happened. It wouldn't have, because of the fact that we played it in store. People like me, I used to listen to a rap project, and I would take it to Kings Park, and I would give it to this guy with this big old boom box that sat up there and drank beer and played dominoes all day.
Yeah.
And you know, give him an underground Too Short tape. And he blasted it all day long at the park, and people like, man, where you get that? So he just pointed them straight back to VIP. Or I would get that dude that got the lowrider car with the system in it so loud that it make your ears bleed. So these was my marketing team and stuff. I would give them free stuff, especially free independent stuff. And they would go out and blast it.
And you know, they would be cruising around the hood.
They would be cruising around the hood, and people, you know, I just loved it and stuff, you know. And so, you know, we you know, that was, you know, one of the independent strategies of street marketing to get music out, because, you know, at that time, radio wasn't touching it, and the majors didn't believe in it. They said it was just
a fad.
And it won't be here long. But I can say the reason why I knew it was going to last and stuff, because early rap was based on music that we loved already.
Yes.
I mean, you could hum to a Roger and Zapp beat and sell it. You could hum to Rick James track and
Good
sell
Times,
it.
Lachey.
Yeah, so I mean, it was based on music that we already loved, so it wasn't a hard sell. And if you got a decent rap and a great hook, you had a project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and you pretty much answered some of my questions. Was how did you feel? I mean, did you think that hip hop was going to last? And you answered that. my next question was, when you first heard it, did you like hip hop?
Well, I would say that, yeah, because I would say a lot of it was because it's like not like music today, and music today kind of tripped me out because there's something weird that's going on with it, and that the people who buy it, they know all of the verses.
Yes.
So back in the day, people walked in the store, all they could say is that, you got that record, I got 5 on it, and that's it. They don't know no verses.
Right.
And stuff. So back then, music was basically hook driven. But now, I went to a concert and our Future was there, and I mean, the whole stadium was repeating every word. I'm like, man, that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, it was basically, back in the day, it was Best Beware of My Crew, and the beat and the hook.
Right.
So you got that, you had a hit.
I remember I went to a record store, and I don't remember where, but it was a white guy there, and he wanted to buy Rapper's Delight. But I remember, and I was a youngster still, and I remember, since you brought up, it was a hook-driven, if you will, generation. He said, it goes, I said a hip, hop, the hibbit, and that's all he knew, but everybody knew what that was.
Exactly.
There was another guy that went up to Steve Yano's stand, and he goes, it's that song that just goes, bass, everlasting bass.
Of course.
Yeah,
of course,
so
yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this, and I know we're jumping ahead. How do you feel about today's version of hip hop compared to when it first started?
Well, I can get into it and stuff. It's just like this is the way music is, and when it comes to hit records, it's two kind of hit records. It's an instant hit, and then it's a manufactured hit.
Yes.
Now, I'm gonna tell you company that manufacture hits: Def Jam, Interscope, Bad Boy, because it's too many times that they have gave us records that, okay, we're going after this. This is what we're going after this next 6 weeks, and so we signed on to market and promote it. So you walk in the store, I got to introduce you to it, and then you're like, I'll pass and stuff, but after 500 spins on the radio, after BET, MTV, that same person that said that they didn't want it will walk in and buy it. So they know how to manufacture a hit. So, and that's what, happened with a lot of the project. I've always said that if I had a record, I would pick a mediocre record and great marketing over great record and mediocre marketing, because it's all about marketing and promotion. It's all about the impression. Yeah. So, but it is a lot of I was fortunate that we had a lot of records that wasn't not hard sales and stuff. Right. So
Okay. Now, as far as VIP, when hip hop started taking off, what would you say? If you can remember your first, if you will, rap hip hop in store at VIP at the Long Beach location.
First rap in store, I think it probably was Too Short.
Too Short.
I think it was Too Short.
Okay.
The first rap in store, and Too Short was very special to VIP because I used to sell his underground cassette. I'm sure it went gold at VIP.
At VIP alone.
Alone, and that was one of the ones that we used to pass out at the park and give to the lowrider. And I actually they were selling so fast that I had to buy a high-speed double just to keep up with the requests and stuff. Yes. Because prior to that, mixtapes back then, and you set up 2 cassette decks and do it in real time. I couldn't do that anymore. But because of Too Short, and then we had a great run with the Bay Area, the Click, RBL Posse, and stuff like that. So I would say right after the big run with Eazy and NWA, our next big focus was the Bay Area. And after the run with the Bay Area is when I put together the VIP studio in Long Beach and started working with local kids in the beach.
Did you ever have NWA in store?
I never had an NWA in store, but my big memory about that is that Eazy used to come down every Friday in his lowrider with a trunk full of 12-inch. So I would buy, whatever I need, a box or two. And I told him one day, I said, man, this record is so strong, you don't have to do that no more. I said, the place where we buy our music it's called a One Stop.
City One Stop.
I said, you can take your records there. I said, I know the people. They will carry this. I said, and then you can take all the records there and you don't have to be making these runs. And that's how he got it in City One Stop. The Boys in the Hood 12-inch.
When a lot of people talk about West Coast rappers or East Coast rappers that have passed away, they always mention, now, and with all due respect to them, Biggie, Pac, Nipsey, but a lot of them never really mention Eazy. It almost kind of like, because it's been possibly so long now that either they forgot or they mention more the recent ones, if you will. Now, I said that to say, because right outside I have the Source magazine when they announced that Eazy had passed away. And I kept that because kind of like when I shared with you earlier about when Prince passed away, that was one of the artists that I truly missed. I felt that way about Eazy. I really, really felt that. And a lot of Latinos, I'll speak for our Mexican people, they loved Eazy-E. Like, they loved him, and I was one of them, and I'm not ashamed to it, because Eazy was, for me, was a real one. He was a real one. So may you rest in peace. And so now, I know if we could jump a little bit ahead, what would you say at VIP, sticking to hip hop, was the most, if you will, the biggest outcome in store that you've ever had? And then maybe if you could give me one that maybe wasn't as what you thought it would be. It was kind of dead.
Well, definitely the biggest in store we had was the release of Snoop Dogg Doggy Style. And it was an in store that almost didn't happen because in Long Beach got this bad about canceling events, saying that, they got a phone call that said that if this event take place, then a lot of people could get hurt, and so we canceled it. So when they told me that, I called Steve Berman over at Interscope. I'm saying, man, the police department said we can't do it. And so he's like, man, as much as I invested in this, man, you got to do it. And so I ended up telling them, well, we're going to do it. And so they said, well, if anything happened, it's on you. So no, we had a great night that night, and that was, that was the biggest one. And I would say, audience-wise, the second biggest one was when Shaq came to Long Beach.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, he came in a custom SUV that was long and lowered and stuff. I remember that part because I'm like, it's too low for him to be. When he got out, he was like towering over it. But that was a big in-store. Definitely, we had a great in-store with LL, who came to Long Beach. We had a good one with Warren and Nate Dogg separately.
Awesome. You ever have a DJ Quik one?
I never had a DJ Quik, and Quik is actually my favorite rapper.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, okay. I would like for you to share with the audience, if I'm correct, DJ Slice is there.
Yeah.
With the 1200 in your studio at VIP.
Yeah.
Quik is there, and he hears.
Okay, yeah, and I don't know if Slice had never told me this story. I heard it from Quik. So he told me one day. He said, do you know that I decided what I want to do in life in the back of your store. I'm like, yeah, sure. Early 90s, you hanging out in Long Beach. I'm like, sure. He said, yeah. He said, you got this producer, DJ Slice. I said, yeah. He said, well, I was there one day, and he had took Zap Computer Love and flipped it and put a beat on it, and this guy was rapping to it. And I'm like, yeah, GQ Steve and DJ Slice, they redid Computer Love. So I'm like, wow, I was just really blown away. And he said that day I took my money and went and bought a drum machine, and my life haven't stopped since. Well, he was already 3 albums in when he told me that and stuff. So I had no idea, but that's the way it was. When I set the studio in the back of the store, at that time, VIP used to be open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. So I would come in the morning, open up the store, go back and unlock the door, turn the equipment on, and it'd just be a floor of kids all day long and stuff.
It was almost like the YMCA.
Yeah, it was a safe environment. I had, it was VIP was a no-fly zone. Right, and stuff, and even at that time and stuff, there was issues going on between local gang members and stuff, and that worked with a group like 213 that had members from both sets doing a project together. I consider that as a huge accomplishment, and it kind of changed the situation in Long Beach as far as redirecting them into doing something positive.
Awesome. I got to go to the back of in the studio that you had there with Jinx. He took me back there. This is when you were putting together your record label, Thin Line Records. Right. Record label out of VIP Records. And I remember you bought Jinx a drum machine. I think it cost a little bit over $2,000.
Actually, $2,500. Jinx said, and I don't know how Jinx found out about me, but he came to me one day and said, I heard you want to open a recording studio. I'm saying, yeah. He said, well, I can help you. So he took me to his house, and he showed me, he said, this is what you need to get. And I said, what is it? And he says, a SP1200 drum machine. He says, virtually a studio in itself. You can do the beats, you can record the music into it, you can even do the vocals in it and mix it down and they do demos. And I'm like, no kidding. He said, yeah, but he said, this one belongs to Dre. And he said, the closest I can get to it is over Dre's shoulder. So now he telling me he don't even know how to use it. Oh, wow. He just know that this is what I need. So, and I ain't no Jinx from nobody and stuff, but the fact that his relationship with Dre, and I knew Dre well, and because Dre and my brother Cletus had worked together for years. Yeah. So we left his house, went down to the Guitar Center on Redondo Beach, and I paid $2,500 for a brand new SP1200 drum machine, and I gave it to Jinx. Wow. And so about 3 months later, he came back. He said, okay, I'm ready. Wow. And that's when I set up the makeshift studio in the back of VIP. So shouts out to Jinx and stuff. If it hadn't been for him, I probably never would have made it.
Shout out to Jinx. I met Jinx in 1987. I want to say he was probably about 16 or 17 years old. And that's when, to make a long story short, I met him at the Swami at Steve Stan. He gave me his number. Actually, Dre gave me his number, said, this is my cousin's number. Call him up. He's producing a record. I didn't know it was for you. So when I went down there, I kind of auditioned. I cut and scratch. And he said, oh, yeah, you're going to be our DJ, and you're going to do scratching on a record. And I was like, okay. So we went to Echo Sound, and I remember Vacek was the engineer.
Oh, I remember that name.
Yeah. And I started doing the scratching, and then I think, I don't know how long after it came out, but I remember I had the record. That was the first time I ever heard myself scratching on the record. Wow. And I'm going to say it came out in 88, if I'm correct.
I would be safe to say, I don't know, it seemed like it should have been a little after 88.
Because I remember I met him in 87, and that's when we started talking. So if I still have the vinyl, I know it says the year on there, but I believe that it's 88.
Wow.
And I still have actually both copies.
Sir Jinx and Dazzy D.
Sir Jinx and Dazzy D, yes. And so after that, as a matter of fact, when we were leaving Echo Sound, I saw King T there. That was the first time I saw him, and DJ Pooh.
Oh, wow.
You know, and I wasn't sure who quite Pooh was, but I knew damn well who King T was.
Right.
You know, but great times, great memories for me, and to be able to say that I am a part of VIP history,
Right.
to me is a tremendous blessing because, you know, I met everybody through Steve. Of course, I met you through my brother going to a VIP buying records. But I'm just thankful, Kelvin, that you allowed me to be a part of that record, you know.
Right.
And I know after that, I guess Jinx and Dazzy went out and did Slipping Into Darkness and a couple of other songs
Right.
and whatnot.
Right.
But why didn't that label go farther than Jinx and Dazzy D? Was it because you just had so much going on? And
You know what? It was not only the West Coast kind of had a curse on it and stuff.
Okay.
And the truth of the matter is that we just didn't have the freedom of movement that we needed in order to make things happen, because local radio did not support independent artists and
Right.
stuff. You had to have some kind of special connection or have a lot of money behind you to get radio play, because the majors control all of the radio play. Well, I mean, we got like a lot of super artists in Long Beach that were just hood stars. I can name a gang of them, but because of the gang situation and stuff, if you the dopest artist in Long Beach, you couldn't even go 5 miles to Compton.
Right.
You know, you couldn't go to Inglewood. You can't go to Pasadena. So because of the lack of freedom of movement, is one of the things that really stunted the growth of a lot of artists, and that's terrible, but that's real. You know, I used to have artists call me from Texas and call me from Florida and call me from Georgia, Chicago. We want to, you know, we heard about VIP, so we want to come out there to launch our career and stuff. I'm like, you better stay where you at and stuff, because, you know, so I told a guy in Dallas and stuff, I'm saying, man, you in Dallas and stuff, if conquer your town, and then once you conquer your town, now you can go to Fort Worth, you can go to Houston, you can go all these places, and nobody dies.
Nobody
and stuff.
dies, yeah.
But you know, unfortunately, and I've seen it. You
Yes,
know, you cannot. So lack of freedom of movement is one of the big reasons that there wasn't a lot more successful artists and stuff. We just didn't know how to come together, man, over dumb stuff.
You know what, Kelvin? And I'm glad that you brought that up, and I'll tell you why. Because that is one thing that nobody ever brings out or talks about.
Right.
Let me give you a perfect example, and I've shared it on other shows, where when Kid Frost first came out, La Raza, okay, all the Chicanos out here, they weren't like, that's a dope song. They were too busy trying to find out where was he from.
Mm-hmm.
They allowed that gang element into the music. And after a while, another Chicano will come out, oh, you know what? And their attitude and their mentality was, oh, fuck that fool. He's from that neighborhood. And I'm thinking to myself, this is music.
Yeah.
This is music. And that's one thing through this platform that I try to bring unity and possibly try to do away with that.
Right.
I know one man is not going to be able to do it, but it has to start somewhere.
Right.
You know, and I like the fact that you brought up that 213 was a group possibly for different sets or whatnot, but they came together.
Yeah.
And that was a good thing. Yeah. But you're right. There were some people that couldn't go this far because of where they were from.
Right.
You know.
I remember back in the day, and I've always spoke out against. I've been at conventions. I've been at big conventions. I'm talking to people about, you know, I'm not asking for censorship. I said, but you should be a little more responsible for what your artist is saying on their record. I said, because what they say on their record can kill them. They look at me like that. what do you mean? That don't make no sense. But perfect example, you remember, and I was shocked to see a major company like Columbia Records to even go there and stuff when Tim Dog, you know what Tim Dog first big hit record was?
Yes.
Okay, so then Columbia, they called me and said, we finna do the retail run with Tim Dog. And we want to know, can we do an in-store at VIP? I said, not only can you not do a in-store at VIP, you can't do an in-store nowhere out here.
Nowhere.
I said, not even the Bay Area, not even San Diego. You can't do that, man. I done told y'all. You can't play with that.
Yeah.
I remember, and I don't want to use up too much of the time, but I want to tell you this one. It's because, speaking of the violence type thing, I was at Def Jam Records in New York one time, and so that was when the big screens first came out. So right. Leo and Kevin, they set me in front of this big screen, and they showed me a video. And so when I finished, I'm looking at them looking at me and stuff. So when the video was over, they said, "What you think about it?" I said, "Oh man," I said, that was y'all put a lot of work into that video. I said, it's a shame that somebody gonna die behind that video. They're like, die behind the video? What you talking about? I'm saying, man, I told y'all, man, gang banging on the West Coast is real, man. You can't play with it. So it was BG Knockout and Gangsta Dre Dog Pound Killer video. Wow. So then they like, oh man, that don't make no sense. 4 months later, Def Jam came out here to shoot a Montel Jordan video, and they had went to Malibu, and I was told that the golf course was like $50,000 a day rental for this golf course to shoot this Montel Jordan video. So what happens on first day? Well, of course, Def Jam invited all of their artists. So they invited Warren. So who did Warren invite? He invited the Dog Pound.
Yeah.
And so, they invited BG Knockout. And so what happened the first day, Nate hit the guy in the head with the golf club. Now, he didn't die, but he could have and stuff. So that's what I'm saying. So what do you think that was over? It was over that video.
That video.
And stuff. So, I mean, even bigger than that, I spoke out against Pac and Biggie. I said, look, this stuff is getting, and when Pac hit him up, I'm like, uh-oh. So now, moving fast forward, Pac is dead, Sugar's in jail, Biggie and Puffy's out here for the Soul Train Award. So the night of the Soul Train Award, they had the after party at the House of Blues. So I'm telling my rep, I'm like, man, look, I said, they can't be walking around like that here and stuff, man. This ain't Brooklyn. I'm like, Pac is dead, Sugar's in jail, and every 15, 20 minutes I'm hearing this record, Can't Nobody Stop Me Now, Can't Nobody Hold Me Back. Those were the key lyrics in the song that Puffy had dropped. And I'm like, man, it's all kind of guys would like to get a feather in their cap for putting a bullet in one of these guys. Yes. Man, I said they shouldn't be walking around like that. So when I got the call that morning about what happened, I wasn't surprised and stuff. So I'm like, you just gang banging on the West Coast is real.
It's real. It's real. We're gonna press pause right there, Kelvin, and we're gonna be back after this commercial break.
All right.
But once again, go ahead and call somebody, text somebody, slap the hell out of somebody. Matter of fact, slap some sense into them. Let them know that Kelvin Anderson, the Godfather of Long Beach, is in the building, and we're gonna be back after this 10-minute break. Take us away, Johnny.
Get it, Dre. Just do 1 2 1 2. Right about now, Eazy-E and Dr. Dre's in the motherfucking house.
Times are getting crazy. It's really hard to choose it. The Roadium's a spot to get funky, fresh music. Easy motherfucking E and my homeboy Dr. Dre. MC Ren is in effect, and you know we don't play. The Roadium is hitting, but you know you can't leave until you get a deaf ass tape from Steve. Oh Steve, oh Steve, oh Steve, just give me just one more tape. Oh Steve, oh Steve, oh Steve, just give me just one more tape. Oh Steve, oh Steve, oh Steve, just give me just one more tape. Oh Steve, oh Steve, oh Steve, just give me just one more tape.
Yeah, man, I came all the way down to the Roadium spot, man, to pick up one of the NWA tapes, man. And I talked to homeboys cold tear shit up. Hey, yo, D, you got a level? B, hit record, man.
Get busy with Eazy and Tony A on the 12 techniques, see?
Here's a little something by a nigga like me. They never should have been me by a thing from me.
Yo, this is your main man, me. You don't like Tony A, well, fuck. I'm rocking shit out of the Roadium. Let's do 1, 2, 1, 2. Right about now, you and Dr. Dre's in the motherfucking
Drop that bass.
Lonzo, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You sure?
Motherfucker, I'm ready, goddamn!
Like it ain't shit, cause I'm a player motherfucker named DJ Quik.
It's a full-time jack move. Chili kill yo, homie, make the track move. Freestyle, me, mama, keep the big chicken. Sweat dripping, girl, it's a little when you chill.
Walked in the house, got shot. 1, 2, 3. Motherfucker, don't down. Shit. This is it, y'all.
Daddy.
I'm kick your ass.
Cut. We're good.
Once again, everybody, welcome back to Roadium Radio episode 36, and we are live here in the city of Wilmington. Let me give some announcement before I come back to my special guest. Once again, the 3 CDs for $15. I am considering reprinting them again. If I do, they are probably going to have different covers on them. Not sure yet, because I'm thinking about reproducing some newer ones first. Once again, send your videos to roadiumradio@gmail.com. Those of you that have already seen the DOCUMIXERY, give us your feedback in a 20 to 30 second video. 20 to 30 seconds. Don't, do a documentary. 20 to 30 seconds of what you thought, okay? So hope you guys got your popcorn ready, because we're about to go into some West Coast hip-hop history with none other than the godfather of Long Beach, Kelvin Anderson, owner of the world-famous VIP record store in the city of Long Beach. So now, let us pick up, because, Kelvin, there's so much that we can talk about that it's impossible to get yours and your family's history in one interview. Right. So with all due respect, I would like to skip around a little bit, for an example, to the day that Snoop Dogg filmed his infamous video on the roof of the world famous VIP record store.
Yeah, that was a very memorable day, and man, the turnout was just unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And everything went great. The all-day thing, we had to close it. Not only did we close the VIP, we closed down the whole center. Mm-hmm. That day to shoot the video. And man, it was just one hell of a day. That, prior to that, VIP Records was just VIP Records, but after the launch and the success of the music video, that's the reason why we had to change it to world famous VIP Records, because we got attention from all around the world and stuff. And to this day, this is 26 years after the release of that video, that people still want to come and see where Snoop Dogg career was launched from.
Yeah, and it's safe to say it went global.
Oh yeah,
it went global, and started there, if you will, in Long Beach, VIP being the mecca, if you will, of Long Beach, because most people when they come to Long Beach, there's two places that they visit.
Right.
Queen Mary.
Right.
And VIP Records.
That's definitely on most people's list.
Yes.
Definitely, and it's a place that people around the world is familiar with. If you just, ask someone to name two places in Long Beach, those would be the two places.
Yes. Now, how did that video come about? Was it Snoop's idea? Was it the record label's idea? How were you contacted for that video shoot?
Well, it was Snoop's idea, and I was contacted by the label by Interscope that I already had a great relationship with them, and so they told me that Snoop wanted to shoot a portion of the video on the roof of VIP and stuff. Could we make that happen? So I said, yeah, we can make it happen. So we did, and like I say, man, it's like it got to be right up there in the top 5 all-time videos.
Right.
Because if you look at the amount of play and spins that it got, and just the overall attention that it, this logo is like, I don't care where you go, someone is gonna recognize the logo. Yeah, it's like, I went on a cruise. I went to a cruise to Alaska, and it's like people over there like question me about it. One of my customers, he got a shirt and he was on his way to Africa. He spent like a week in Africa. So when he got back, he said, man, he said, I can't tell you what I wore Monday. He said, but Tuesday I wore my VIP shirt and people were just engaged with them and stuff. He said, man, I had people to buy me drinks, buy me food. He said, Wednesday he wore something else and nobody even recognized him. He said, I wore my shirt Thursday, Friday, Saturday. He said, I even wore it back on the plane. And wow. I just got, people just engaged with it. They had so many questions about it. Right. That's somewhere you ever been and stuff like that. So it has an effect on people.
Yes. Well, you have the most, if you will, most famous rapper on planet Earth, dancing and rapping on top of VIP Records.
Yeah. Yeah.
With VIP Records. And I was there. As a matter of fact, me and John Elkins here were there when they voted that the sign will be considered a historical landmark.
Right. Right.
And to me, I was saddened, because you had moved buildings, and then it was going to be turned into a 7-Eleven, or it is a 7-Eleven.
It is a 7-Eleven.
The sign was going to be taken down, and I'm thinking, like, what the hell? Like, they're not going to move to Queen Mary. Why are you guys moving this?
Yeah.
Was there a reason, Kelvin, that that building or that your store could not have been saved? How did I don't want to use the word ended up losing it.
Right.
But why was there a move?
Well, I would say we originally moved out of that location in like 2014, and we kind of bounced around this center for a while. But we moved out because the rent was extremely too high for the amount of business that we were doing. And I look back and think about when Tower Records closed. I was contacted and interviewed by a lot of the media, and they said, we just want to get your feelings on the closing of Tower Records. I said, well, it's Tower Records today, but it could be VIP tomorrow, because they didn't close because they wasn't good business people. It's just that you can't compete you can't compete with free. Right. And stuff. So that's the reason why, a lot of the stores closed. It's just that the fact that nobody really had to buy music to get music, and the fact that, the record industry as a whole, labels and distributors, was going into a different direction as far as how they were spending their marketing and promotion dollars. And they just figured that, we'll market through text and market through MySpace. It's what they told a lot of us that was used to getting marketing dollars and stuff, which contributed greatly to keeping the store open, keeping your bills paid and stuff like that. So when they took all that away, that's the reason why chain stores closed, is because of the marketing and promotion dollars outside of the fact that sales was down.
Right, and there wasn't so much of a demand anymore for vinyl cassettes or whatnot. Everything was the world. Well, this is your record player now, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you that are watching and love hip hop, whether it's West Coast or whether it's East Coast, but just love hip hop, Kelvin has a story about that how you met and had an install for Craig Mack.
Oh, yeah.
And his sidekick, or I don't want to use the word sidekick, the guy that came with him that day.
Yeah, well, actually, it was just a retail run. It wasn't an actual in-store. Like every artist, when labels sign an artist, R&B, hip-hop, or whatever, VIP was always on the schedule of the retail run, where they just take them around, introduce them to the retailers and stuff like that. So Craig Mack, being the face of Bad Boy, when Bad Boy first launched, he came to VIP, and he got this big fat guy with him and stuff with a Craig Mack t-shirt that I took a picture with in the front of VIP, which it turned out to be at the time Biggie Smalls. But we know later on after that he got sued for the name and had to change it to the Notorious BIG. But when Biggie came to Long Beach, he was just a sidekick and stuff. And he used to call me when he come out, when he's on his way out and stuff, and wanted to know if I could hook him up with Snoop. He wanted to hang out with Snoop, and so Biggie was cool and stuff. I had a few interesting conversation with him.
I remember you had shared that with me, that he would call out here and hang out with Snoop, whatnot, and I believe at one point they were really cool,
Yeah.
Is it safe to say that the media possibly blew it up about this East Coast, West Coast beef thing? Because at one point, like you're saying, they were actually...
Yeah, that didn't help any. I think the fact that you had these two labels that felt like that, they was both reaching for the crown.
Right.
So, and it was just that nature of the beast and stuff that, instead of teaming up, and because to this day, they both would have still been making crazy amount of money if they was still with us. But it's just that it was more the West Coast than the East Coast, because it's just that the West Coast, that was just they thing. I mean, we deal with it's crazy and stuff that within the gang situation in Long Beach, you got two rival gangs in Long Beach that's all Crips and stuff. Now Crips they would come together to fight Bloods.
Right.
Now, Crips and Bloods would come together to fight guys from the East Coast. So, I mean, there are coming together points.
Right.
And stuff, but, it's just, it just never made any sense to me and stuff. But, it was something that, hopefully, I'm seeing some changes now, but it's still not enough changes that, we can, feel safe on going to any city, promoting your product or your music and stuff. But it's have definitely held the West Coast back. That's the reason why, people like Cash Money was able to flourish until they were just so dug into, they had the money to pay for the airtime or whatever and stuff. But if they had the same type of situation in their city as we had on the West Coast, it wouldn't have blew up like that. So freedom of movement is such a major important part of being able to market and promote yourself. It's like, thank God for social media today, because a lot of those guys would not be who they are if it hadn't been for social media.
And I'm so glad you're saying this.
Yeah, you can lay across your bed with your laptop and do the same thing they're doing at Warner Brothers and stuff. I learned a lot about social media from my nephew, Absol, and stuff, because I used to go by the record store when he was working at the record store in Carson, Magic Disc Records, And he said, okay, Uncle, I'll be with you in a few minutes. I'm finishing up this interview. So he online doing the interview and overseas somewhere and stuff.
Wow.
So it's just, that's what social media have allowed, artists to be able to do is reach people not just around your city, but across the world. And he actually had a name for himself, internationally, even before the deal with TDE.
Kelvin, you brought up a great point, because there's a lot of people today, because of social media, they are Instagram famous.
Yeah.
And I'll speak for myself. You got a lot of cocky ass artists out there today that believe the hype of social media, because they may get 1,000 likes on a picture, they may get 2,000 views or something, and all of a sudden they're a rapper or you're an Instagram model or whatnot. And I'm not hating on that, but what I am pointing out is we live in a different time that you need to be thankful for technology, because back then you literally had to work. You had to travel.
Oh, yeah.
You had to go places. You had to be a nice guy. And how you doing, Kelvin? Can we have an in-store here or whatnot?
Right.
Today it's like, well, I'll just do I'll do a beat on my laptop and then take a picture of myself, and it might go viral.
Yeah.
It might go viral. So we live in a good time, especially a good technology time. But a lot of these artists today, I see them on the streets, and they act like they're movie stars. Like they really, I don't get that.
Right.
Never paid any dues.
Right.
I don't get that, but I'm sure somebody out there will probably get mad for me saying what I'm saying, but honestly, I don't give a damn.
Well, yeah, no, that's real. It's there are, I would say, I still talk to a lot of the young people that remembers and pay homage to not only what I've done, to how it all started and stuff, and the things that we had to go through in the early days, as far as making sure that people had an avenue to sell their merchandise and market and promote themselves. I've always had, and me myself, I always had a lot of independent artist billboards up on the wall of VIP, and it was like that was all those guys' dream, was to have a billboard up there. They felt like that if they got on the side of the building, they made it.
Yes, because we really had nothing else.
Yeah,
we can say go to VIP and you'll see me up there.
Yeah,
like that was like, it was. I don't want to use the word they made it, but it gave them that feeling.
Oh yeah.
So now you shared with me a story. I want to say maybe about 12 years ago. You guys went to Paisley Park.
Oh yeah, we was me and from the West Coast, my good friend Violet Brown. Shout out to Violet. I got an interesting story to tell you about Violet one day. But from me being mad at her being at the meetings, we used to have independent retail meetings.
Yes.
And so I'm like, ain't she from a chain store? What's she doing here? And stuff. So after the first meeting, they would call me and say, we having a meeting and stuff. I'm like, is Violet gonna be there? And they said, yes, she gonna be there. I said, okay, well, I'll come. Because right off, I learned so much from her.
Yes.
And found out how deep she was. Until, man, I just love her and stuff, man. And she's so open and caring and sharing and stuff. See, that's one of the problems, in life and stuff, that people can just say things that can help you. It don't cost you nothing to share information and stuff. And she's always been that person and stuff, to the point where if I got something independent underground that's hot, I'm gonna let her know, because not only was she supported, she also have an ear.
Yes.
She has an ear, like, better than most people that I know. Mm-hmm. So Violet and I and probably like 10 other retailers from across the country was fortunate enough to be invited to Paisley Park.
Okay.
And so we went there, and Prince gave us a tour of the compound, and what was the evening ended with them giving a full dress concert
for you guys,
for like 12 people, a full concert. and I was just blown away. And you know, it's a few things that have happened, you know, over my life that, you know, it was just unbelievable and stuff.
Yeah, things that is real hard to forget because they're so memorable.
Yeah.
You know, I got to see Prince in concert when the Purple Rain album dropped. That was about the only time that it was, I should say, as close as I got to him. Never had an opportunity to meet him. That's probably one of the artists that I wish I could have met. Even just to share, like I met Curtis Blow, Melly Mel, all great guys.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one of the guys that I wish I could have truly have met. You know, and I'll be honest with you, it really hurts me to think sometimes when I listen to all his music that like, wow, man, if I could have just met that guy, even just as, you know, it's kind of like an actor that I would like to meet one day, Clint Eastwood. I would like to meet Clint Eastwood. I would like to meet, you know, Sylvester Stallone. I haven't met those guys yet, but I'm a big fan of movies. I'm a big fan of music. So those are, if you will, on my bucket list.
Right.
Is there any memorable moments that you would say as far as an artist that you've met that you said, man, that guy was such a great guy? I'm sure there's many of them, but any of them stand out?
Man, artists,
singers, R&B singers, because I know you've met Michael Jackson. I know you met Prince.
Yeah, you know, I just projects that really stands out. Keith Sweat. When Keith Sweat made that was his first album, Make It Last Forever, was a remarkable album. And then when I think about, you know, something that I dealt with a soul over the years that was impactful, that album, I remember, and we had it when it first came out, it was vinyl, that people would come in and they would they bought the record off of the first single. And they just kept, every so often, they would release another song. And so people would think it's another new album and stuff. So that album stayed in our top 10 for like a year because of how they strategically released it, singles off of it and stuff. So that album was something that I remember a lot because it just so strong for a whole year. And you had people coming in there buying the album over, thinking that it was a new album. I'm like, no, just flip the album over. It's on the other side. So, you know, that album, I would say, you know, I was always big on independent projects and stuff because, you know, I feel that I have an ear too, and you can bring a record to me and I'm going to listen to it. And once I listen to it, I already know who I'm going to sell it to because I already know my customer base. So you could be pulling up in the lot. I'm like, let me get that because you're going to buy it. Because, you know, and that's one thing, independent versus most chain stores is that most independent stores was ran by somebody that was really personable with the store, either the owner or relative or something that we cared. I noticed visiting a lot of chain stores that the people that was working there was somebody who was working their way through college because they doing more homework than watching the people who walking out the door with half of the inventory. So that means that, you know, we bought music to sell and stuff, whereas back then a lot of the chain stores, they bought deals and stuff. They bought the 10% and the 10% in advertising and the 10% in free goods and stuff like that. They ain't really care whether they sold them or not. Well, when you independent retailer go to City One Stop or something, I planned not to take it back. So we were more personable about what we bought and sold than, you know, the bigger box stores because you know, we were just into it like that.
Awesome. So now I know you guys have been working on a documentary, a VIP documentary. Can you share a little bit about that and what can people expect when they see the documentary? Yeah,
I you know, definitely want to complete this documentary. I would say I'm probably about 70% done with it. My co-producer that I started this project with, unfortunately passed away, and we was really focusing on the move. So I just got to regroup and get back on it. But I got some real interesting interviews on there. I even have rest in peace Ricky Harris got a real cool interview with him on there, and so it's something that I got to get done.
Yes.
Like this interview and stuff, it could be a 3-part documentary.
Yes.
Because I definitely would love for it to start with my brother Cletus, who is the founder of VIP and put so many things in motion.
Yes.
But it would be interesting and definitely will enlighten people on a lot, because VIP did some pretty special things over the years, and definitely was a big part of launching a lot of careers.
Yes. Now, can you share with us a little bit what you shared with me earlier about what can people expect about this, this soon to come or eventually VIP experience?
Oh, okay, yeah. I had first, a lot of people still come to the store and they want to know where the sign is. So I still have the sign. It's in storage. I was fortunate enough with a situation with Adidas to make a replica of the sign that's real nice. So when people come to the store, they have something to see. But my first goal was to open a black music museum, and the museum would. I wanted to tell a story from the 8-track all the way to hologram. So
awesome.
I envision this museum where great grandmom could walk in with her great grandkids and she explaining to them what the 8-track is, the cassette 45s, and as you walk through the museum and stuff, when it at the end of the museum, now they explaining to her digital, they explain to her what a hologram is and stuff like that. So it would just be a whole 4 or 5 generational experience.
Yes.
Theirs. So because in going through this journey, I see what it actually takes to do a museum. So don't look like that's going to happen, but I still want to do a VIP experience. And a VIP experience will be, I would say, something similar to a museum, because I still got like, gold records. I still got posters and plaques and pictures, a lot of the old equipment and stuff. Back in the day, we had reel-to-reels and stuff. So I have things that I could show to, people that would come through that they would be interested in seeing.
Right.
I remember a few years back, and the museum idea came when there was a guy came in the store, and they walked down this aisle, and he had his 2 sons with him that seemed to be like 11 or 12, and he saw a vinyl record, and he said, "Dad," he said, "what's that?" And so everybody in the store laughed, and so he explained it to him what it was and stuff, and he picked it up. He said, "Well, how do you put it in?"
Wow.
And stuff. So I said, this is a story that need to be told.
Yes.
And all of that stuff plays a real important part and stuff. A lot of time I would say, when you think of the history of the business and stuff, I would say that Mahalia Jackson is her history is just as important to me as Snoop Dogg's and stuff, because it was so impactful, back in her day and stuff. So,
yes.
And it's just music in general and stuff. Like, people, we always say that we specialize in jazz, gospel, R&B, blues, reggae, and hip hop. And so all of those segments of the music industry means a lot to me because I lived it and was a part of it.
Now, I had a question for you as far as Steve Yano. On a different note, I did this documentary, and of course you're working on your documentary. Do you think that it was do you believe that it was important that Steve Yano's story, legacy be documented?
Without a doubt. Me being someone who knew Steve personally and saw, the impact that he had on the music industry, and the impact that he had on just especially rap music,
Yes.
and the impact he had on Dre and Eazy. Those are like names that's humongous, and yeah, I mean, I'm so happy that you took the initiative to put that in motion and actually to complete the journey, because he's definitely very deserving of it and stuff. Kind of in the same way that I'm on my brother Cletus about, you know, documenting his past, because he touched so many lives along the way, and actually just really put in the hard work.
Yes.
So the same thing with Steve and stuff, man. He really cared about it wasn't just about making money and stuff. He know himself that he changed lives and stuff, and he did that because that was his choice to do so. So yeah, I mean, he is definitely very deserving of this honor that you guys have put together for him.
Yes, thank you very much. And once again, I do believe, like what you were saying about your brother Cletus, his story should be told. I believe your story should be told, and I would even say King Tim's story should be told. You know, but I hope that does take place and it comes out soon, because I definitely want to buy it. I definitely want to support.
Yeah.
I love VIP. I've been going to VIP as a kid. I mean, I wear the shirt because once again I support it 100%.
Thank you.
So if there's anything that we can do here at Roadium Radio, we want to be able to help and contribute to the VIP experience or the VIP documentary.
Right.
So at this time, Kelvin, if there's any shout outs, anybody you want to, you know, say hello to, right now is the opportunity if you would like to.
All right. Well, definitely I want to send a shout out to my kids, my family, Tasha, Tanisha, Kelvin Jr., Rikisha, my daughter Latasha. She ran VIP for many years, and she actually allowed me to be able to go out and go to conventions and go out and network. So, which also led to me being the man on the West Coast as far as the go-to person by a lot of the record labels and stuff. So, you know, without that, I would have been, you know, still stuck on MLK and PCH.
Yes,
So she definitely did a lot to propel VIP into where it is today. And my son, he spent quite a few years working behind the counter, making sure that VIP was okay. And my daughter Tanisha also contributed greatly. But, you know, a shout out to, you know, all our siblings that grew up in the record business and stuff, you know, nieces, nephews. So VIP was a family thing.
Yes.
And even my sister Lisa, she started out at VIP in Long Beach, and she was fortunate enough to have 2 successful record stores during her time that she owned. So, you know, that, and, you know, I want to thank thank Long Beach and all the other areas for the support. Like I say, on the block for 41 years. And, you know, I do really feel that this is the last year, not because, you know, business is slow, but it's some other things that I like to do in life while I'm still, you know, healthy and could probably do them. So the VIP experience will be something that will keep VIP going, and something that, you know, people can still come and experience, because last week I had some people that came in from France, and when they came to the store, they said they hadn't even checked into their Airbnb yet. So they came from the airport to the store because they just had to come there.
Yes.
So we still get those type people, and so it's important to me to keep a presence in Long Beach.
Absolutely.
Just for what VIP means to so many.
Right, awesome. Well, for a lot of people that may not live out here in the harbor area, from Wilmington to Long Beach, just one street, PCH.
That's right.
And you would run right into VIP. So you could still go visit him, take a picture with him, buy whatever he has, buy him out. That's what I'll say. So here's where I give my shout outs. First of all, I want to thank Kelvin Anderson. I want to thank Cletus. I want to thank King Tim. I want to thank VIP and the VIP family, the world famous VIP family. VIP not only was the Roadium a big part of my life, but also VIP. Again, that's the first time I ever saw the first DJ cut and scratch. Happened to be Kelvin Anderson's brother, King Tim. So much love, much respect to them. And everybody out in Long Beach, I got mad love for Long Beach. Much love, much respect to the city of Long Beach. Other than that, I would like to thank my boy, John motherfucking Elkins, for making this possible. I would like to thank DG Media Clips. Also like to thank my son, B. Scanless, who just celebrated his 29th birthday. And other than that, Sunday, I will be here with 2 guests. We're going to have a double feature on Sunday. Okay. Once again, on Sunday, put that down on your calendar. And then I'm going to do something extra special. Next week, I'm going to do a Tuesday and a Wednesday. I usually do just Sundays and Wednesdays, but I'm going to do Tuesday and a Wednesday. The reason why I'm having a special guest here on Tuesday is because this is a duel, 2 guys, and they're actually out of Long Beach. Okay, that's why I'm announcing that they're actually out of Long Beach. One of them lives in New York, but he's only down here visiting, and I got to get those 2 guys together. So tune in Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So I'd like to thank everybody once again. Roadium Radio, episode 36. Kelvin Anderson, I'm going to be bringing him back soon because there's so much more history. So be looking out. Thank you, everybody. You guys have a blessed night, and we'll see you guys Sunday night. Thank you. Take us away, Johnny.